Hello and welcome everybody. Once again, this is Rafa from Mystic Times. I'm really happy that you're there. I want to say, first of all, thank you so much to everybody that's been watching, listening to the show, commenting and reaching out. I really appreciate the feedback and just knowing that there's interest in the topics that we're touching here on the show with our awesome guests. Today, I wanted to do something a little bit different. So there's a few ideas that I share on the show, which they're like kind of baked already, but sometimes speaking about them with other people and having that back and forth helps them to get a little bit more ripe. And my intention is today to share some of these ideas, or one in particular main central idea, which I believe is connected to the situation that we're facing today in the world, the general situation, not any specific event, not any specific happening in the world, but the general situation that we're finding ourselves in. There's lots of polarization between people, polarization between identities. But what I really see that's happening today is this expansion that we're all going through, especially those who are awake to what's happening, because we are able to release the resistance to this expansion that's happening. So what I mean by expansion, okay, we've been taught since very early, since very young, unintentionally, just it's some kind of a cultural thing rather than a plot or an ill-intentioned thing. We've been taught to identify, and we've learned, let's bring the responsibility back to ourselves. We've learned to identify with our name, with our body, our mind, with our likes and dislikes. And with time, with evolution, with growth, with maturing, with development, with self-improvement, quote unquote, with self-development, self-actualization, self-knowledge. With all of that, we start to shake off those identifications, We start reconnecting to our most essential part. Sometimes in spirituality, the kind of mystical terms will be our soul or our spirit, our higher self. And those terms are amazing, but I understand sometimes they're kind of hard to relate to, depending on where you are in your process. But something that's very useful is to think of, to actually look at your experience and think of yourself, or this thing that I was just saying, we learn to be identified with our body, our appearance, our thoughts, our feelings. So there lies a big key and a big secret, that there is that we, which identifies or learns to identify with other things. So in the very process, there is a pointing to this other thing that we are, apart from our identifications. The thing is that through identification, we kind of forget who we are apart from those identifications. We forget that there is an I who identifies with these other things. My point here is that this I is still there. This I is the one that looks through your eyes, the one who sees or watches, perceives your thoughts, your likes and dislikes, those very things that you identify with, that we all identify with from early childhood and even up till today. Those things are always observed by you, by the eye. And we tend to grab those things and put them on like costumes on top of our true self. Because ironically, this true self is unknowable. Because everything that can be known is actually being observed by something else, quote unquote, something else. And that else is who we are, who you are, who I am. Okay, the funny thing is that we all share this identity. And so what I'm seeing today happening in the world is a kind of relaxation of the identity with the body, the mind, the thoughts, the emotions, the identities, the ideas, the ideologies was the word I was looking for. There's a relaxation of this. We are releasing that, let's call it past karma. And in its place, the light is coming out, showing itself. So the way that I see this is this idea that I've shared on the show. We are in this first person experience, which is the identity we've been trained to bend ourselves into. There is that first person experience, and then there is also the third person experience, which, as I was saying just now, is that part of us which is looking through your eyes, observing the thoughts, and choosing, sometimes unconsciously, choosing to identify with some of those things that come up. There's many reasons why we identify, but maybe that's for another video. So today I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into this idea that the first person experience, the one we are very used to, you know, you look at your own hands, you look at the world, and all you see is other. You don't see yourself, you don't see you, you don't see that first person because you're looking from it. And in the same way, what's actually happening is the third person experience. It's happening also constantly. But since we are looking from the camera, let's say, that's floating above the third person, we don't see that either. So we're not seeing the first person and we're not seeing the third person experience. Sorry, we're not seeing the origin, the point from where that perspective happens. We are seeing the perspective itself, but not the origin of it. So here, for example, we have the ability of seeing our face through a camera or a mirror, etc. And that is a way here that we can see our first person experience from the outside, okay? And that is the trend that I'm seeing. I've been seeing and perceiving and sensing this for several years now. We are more and more shaking off this armor, this chrysalis, and more reconnecting with that higher self, which is what I just maybe mentioned as the camera looking at the third person experience. This part of us is outside of space and time. This part of us, as crazy as that might sound, but I believe most of you watching this already sense this and are cool with at least contemplating this idea, at the very least for educational purposes and for expanding your own perceptions of who you are. You do not need to take any of what I'm saying as fact or truth or anything like that, because it's just some stuff that I've been sensing and just some words that I am using to express this sense. Sorry, there was some noise coming from my phone. So we're sensing this expansion, this release, and we're seeing more who we are apart from the material, even mental aspect. There's this part of us which is even truer, even more original. And we are reconnecting with it. That is the whole point of this movement that I'm seeing in human evolution, in human consciousness. We're moving from this place where the higher self was a kind of metaphor, just a kind of wishful thinking, a kind of just an idea in the mind, to a more sensed perception in the body. Because here the idea is not to reject the body in favor of it. It's actually to recognize that it includes the body. What we have done is we have severed, or apparently severed, the connection with it and just are occupying the body, or are just identified with the part that is occupying the body. But there is, science has been showing this for years, this electromagnetic field around us. There is the quantum riddle, which we're still unraveling. And all of those things are pointing to this reconnection with the rest of us, the whole of us. This aspect of us that we have forgotten for some reason, as part of a cycle probably, and which we are remembering. So, long story short, you are more than just your body and your thoughts, your emotions, your sensations. You are the observer of all of that, the witness of it. And there is nothing wrong with you, nothing wrong with whatever point of your evolution you're in. Just know that there is this collective movement, collective wave towards an integration between body and soul, personality and higher self, small I and big I. It's just happening. It's going on. It's a wave that's moving across the collective consciousness of humanity. And you can take part of it and you can benefit from it because it will expand your evolution. It will level up the place you're in. This doesn't mean it's going to be necessarily a walk in the park or simple or easy. What it means is things that are working against this integration are going to fall off in the form of habits and patterns, of behavior, emotions, relationships, thoughts. So all the different identifications that we've been learning since we were small, they are going to start to fall off. It's like, yeah, just like I said before, this chrysalis that is being opened up for the butterfly to come out. The chrysalis is not just the human body, physical body, but all the ideas that shape our identity, our personality. All of that is becoming loose and being shaken off. Kind of like, also another metaphor is the snake shedding its skin. That's happening. And what's happening, or what's coming out of the chrysalis, is more of who you are. So the movement might feel sometimes difficult or challenging because you are releasing things that you have identified with for so long. We all are. And releasing your identity is one of the biggest fears. You know, it's up there with the fear of death, because the fear of death is the fear of releasing who I am, who I believe I am, into nothingness. And we're still not there. Nothingness being the emptiness, the void that, for example, Buddhists talk about, which is the same as Brahman in Hinduism, which is existence itself. But again, that's probably a topic for another video. If you like any of these ideas, just leave a comment and I will see to speak to those topics and share my views, my experience, my opinion. We are releasing the past and the future to be here now in the present, in the everlasting present. There is nothing but now, and we are letting more of now in by releasing our attachment to old patterns. And again, this can be a smooth transition for some at some points of the transition, but it can also be hard. It can also be challenging. Because of those very entrenched feelings. And I want you all to know that there is nothing wrong, again, with the place where you are. There is nothing that you're doing wrong. It is happening for us. It's a wave, again, that's going through our collective consciousness. And this wave is affecting and touching all of us in a positive, expansive way, helping us open up to peace, to relaxation, to compassion, to love and calmness. And I'm very happy that this is happening. And again, I thank you for being there. I appreciate all of the support. If you like these kinds of ideas, I encourage you to go back through the many episodes already of the show. We are around 60 episodes already, and I expect to be doing a lot more, many more. And also I want to let you know that you can support my work You can support these ideas, this conversation, everything that's happening in the show and in this YouTube channel. You can help support by joining the Patreon community. There's exclusive episodes, as I always let you guys know. Exclusive episodes. There's some sound healing that I've shared on there. And I have great ideas for this community, but I wanted to expand a little bit more in order for a conversation to start happening within the community, and for us to start sharing ideas and sharing our everyday experience as we move through this shift, as we move through this transition together. You know, I felt alone for a very long time, and I want other people who might be feeling alone as well, who might be feeling misunderstood in whatever context, physical or mental, that they might be today. I want everybody to have a space where they can feel embraced, where they can feel united with other people who are aware of this awakening that's happening. So therefore the Patreon. So you're welcome to join. You're also welcome to get in contact with me on my Instagram page. I'm going to leave links for everything down there. And thank you once again. This is Rafa signing off. See you soon. Bye.